And now, 2009 Surrogates, rated PG-13 with a runtime of 1 hour 29 minutes. This gentleman had a budget of $80 million. What do you think this brought into the box office, Alex?
24 million.
All right, Vader.
I think you're high.
I am not high. I'm drunk.
No. I meant your number's high. I think your number's high.
Oh, okay.
What'd you say, 24?
24 million.
I'm going to go $1, Bob.
I think that you will be disappointed to know that this brought in, with an $80 million budget, $122 million at the box office.
Bruce Willis, bro.
Wow. Was this like his last good movie?
Good? You call this good?
I'm not going to lie to you guys. Listen to me. This was my favorite movie of the week.
What? Stop.
Yeah. I don't know why.
I can't talk to you the rest of the podcast.
I kind of want him to leave.
I'm sorry. But this movie kind of freaked me out.
Oh, well, yeah. It's a sad movie.
Fucking freaked me out.
Yeah.
And the other two movies, one of them pissed me off and the other one was just Steven Spielberg spending a lot of fucking money. So this movie, yeah.
So people have no reason to listen to the rest of this podcast then, as far as your opinion is concerned.
No, I didn't pick the order we're reviewing these in. I know I'm off from what you guys are thinking, but there's a lot to unpack in this thing, and I feel a lot of it like I take a lot of this movie personally because it's weird. Yeah, but anyway, Jude, you got a synopsis to do, so
yeah, sure.
Yeah.
All right.
I love your synopsis. By the way, I know you weren't here for it, but when Tom was doing your synopses, freaking amazing.
Oh, thank you.
So I got to edit them this week, and I just got done. I was like, this is fucking amazing.
Yeah, the Connor McLeod one was my favorite.
It's so good. There could be only one. And I loved it because, like, this is a little behind the scenes stuff for our people, but like when I'm editing Jude's synopsis, when Jude has like a long synopsis and it's like a minute and 2 minutes long, I have to take clips from the movie and like put it together in a way that like lines up with her synopsis. When she did the Forger synopsis and it was literally one sentence, I did 2 clips.
Chef's kiss.
And it was amazing. So thank you.
You are welcome.
Take it away.
In the future, everyone is bullshit. Not daring to be seen without their full-size Instagram filters, the gross humans use surrogates to go out into the world to live their lives for them, while the soft, old, delicate versions of themselves stay at home, hooked up to VR pods controlling their counterparts. It's great for keeping kids from getting kidnapped, keeping the cops from getting shot, and keeping that bod in smash form. When a couple of surrogates are found dead outside of a club, young, tough, full head of hair having cop, Bruce Willis, and his partner track down the owners and find that they too are dead, and one of them is the son of the man who invented surrogates. Ving Rhames is the leader of a group of people adamantly against the use of surrogates and is also full of shit. Every time he gets assassinated, he just hops into a new surrogate and keeps on preaching to his followers for the end of surrogacy. He's stolen a weapon that can kill the surrogate as well as its user, and he's partnered with the police chief. But speaking of partners, remember that guy whose kid was killed at the beginning of the movie? He murdered Bruce Willis's partner and has been hiding inside her surrogate suit, pretending to be a cop to get the evidence he needs to exact revenge upon the people responsible for his son's death. Also, Bruce Willis's son died in a car accident that left his wife, Rosamund Pike, with a facial scar, and that's why he's blonde now. Discuss.
This is a sad movie.
It's so fucking weird. I hated it.
It's sad.
Listen, this is real life. What are you talking about?
It's so
This is the beginning of the Twitch culture of YouTube video gamers.
Listen,
I know 100%.
This is gonna fucking happen.
Vader is gonna have that fucking blonde wig of his and his surrogate.
Dude,
listen, every fucking person out there that has an Oculus Rift wishes this is the way the world was, because this is where we're going, and this is why this movie fucking freaked me the hell out. I'm not even joking.
I know you're not.
This
joking.
movie tweaked my brain. Every time, all I could see in when I was watching this whole movie was that character in that old school World of Warcraft South Park episode of that fat, bald, gross, dirty, sitting in his own fucking filth, fat piece of shit playing his game.
Yeah.
Except that's what every human on the planet has devolved into.
Right.
Everybody's fat, gross, full of pimples, got their shit bucket sitting next to them, next to their pod, with fucking catheters attached to their dicks. And it's nasty. And it's just, ugh.
You're going fucking dark.
Oh yeah, dude. This is what I see. And it scares me.
You want to go even darker?
Yeah, I do.
Because like this could be seen as a metaphor for life during the COVID lockdowns.
Yeah.
Where like the surrogates are basically like the masks that you have to wear outside, and people are just afraid to go outside.
Oh no!
I mean,
Alice is broken.
Well, I'm very drunk right now,
Listen.
guys. Just so you know. So everything's gonna be 10 times amplified with my brain.
the whole concept behind this movie, which is kind of the same concept for all three movies today, but this one took it to the darkest place to me. This movie just it freaked me out.
Really?
And I think that's why
So
it was
did
my
it freak
favorite.
you out because you're like, yes, I would participate in that, or did it freak you out?
There's a part of me that would,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but there's also a part of me that goes, no, this
It's wrong.
There's a
It's
part of
wrong.
me. There's a part of me that makes me go, okay, I need to get my fat fucking ass off the couch and go to the park.
Right.
That's what this movie.
Well,
is
that's
doing
why
to
I
me.
go camping.
Yeah,
I
because
disconnect from everything internet related.
You
and
know-
I go the fuck out in the middle of nowhere and I hang out with my
Yeah.
family for a couple of days.
I-
Did you do pull-ups on trees?
Fuck yes, I do.
this morning, a couple hours ago, I had to get up an hour early today because I needed to go take my wife to the auto shop. I needed to go drop her car off and do some stuff.
Right.
Oh, why didn't you have your surrogate do that?
Well, yeah, it's just like I'm driving around, and so like in our neighborhood, there's a fucking charter school. Okay, so for some reason, everybody in the world has to drop their fucking kids off with their goddamn Lexuses and their electric cars, right? Except they're all assholes. They're all dicks, and they have to all come into my neighborhood at the same fucking time and drive through my area and drop their fucking kids off everywhere and honk their horns and get rude and shit with me because I'm just trying to leave my driveway. Right? It's ridiculous. And the time I drove to my wife's office to pick her car up, I thought like at least 6-7 times, I wish I had my surrogate to do this shit because I'm gonna fucking die because I hate people and people hate me and I don't need this world. I was so angry.
This is gonna be a fucked up episode.
You know what I'm saying? And it would be so much easier if I could just like get out of bed and go jump in my fucking stupid pod.
Yeah, but
And
you're
you're
no, hold on.
You know, it's just
Wait a
it's
second.
just
Wait
like-
a second.
It was insane.
Because you are spending the same amount of I'm sorry.
Yeah, but at least
I don't
I'm
want to
safe.
say spending. You're wasting the same amount of time sitting in that stupid surrogate chair
Yeah.
as you are sitting in your car
Yeah,
driving.
but at least if I'm in my stupid pod, I can have my surrogate fucking stop in the middle of the road and go pull out another fucking robot out of the car and put a bullet in its fucking head and not care because I know I'm not fucking hurting anybody really,
So
right?
basically, he just wants to be able to murder.
Yeah, whatever. But at the same time, I'm like, and then I go,
Which
what
is
am I doing?
The next movie we'll
What
get
am
into.
what am I thinking? This whole concept is crazy.
It broke your brain, didn't it?
It broke into my brain. Yeah, it broke my brain.
It broke your brain.
I
Whatever.
just
We're not even talking about the movie.
no, but we kind of are because it's the concept behind the movie.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like people are so fucking fragile, weak, limp, and soft that they would rather get out of their bed and get in their other bed in their pod and live their life through a goddamn robot.
Yeah, so there's like two different factions. There's like the people who use surrogates in this movie, and then
Which
there's
is
the
the
people,
majority.
Yeah, and then there's the people who are like, "Fuck that! We want to end that. We want to make everyone stop doing that."
Yeah.
But like the people who've been using surrogates, there's a point where Bruce Willis's surrogate gets destroyed, and he has to like just live life in his own meat suit, and he is so unprepared to just like walk down the street and
Yeah.
like things whizzing past him and feeling the
Real
world
life.
around him is
Yeah.
fucking traumatizing.
Yeah, I
and
mean-
he almost can't do it.
Yeah.
There's an overlying message about how fucked up this is through this whole movie. I mean, every time they show somebody that's in a pod controlling a surrogate, they're fat,
Gross.
covered
Old.
with pimples, got fucking hair growing out of weird spots. And
Well,
stuff.
they're
And
just they don't take care of themselves anymore because they don't have
probably,
to.
I can smell them through the screen.
Because they're so used to being isolated in their little pods, and they present like perfect synopsis is the Instagram filter.
Yeah.
Instagram is this
That's
movie.
what it is.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, like my wife says it all the time. She's like, oh, I'm watching all these family people, right? Because we have a ton of kids and they have a ton of kids and their life is freaking perfect. And our life is trashed. And I'm like, no, babe. That's Instagram.
Yeah.
They are showing you what their best version of themselves is when their house is clean and their kids are well behaved and they have a ton of money and they're doing all this. Like, that's bullshit.
Everything's bullshit.
It's all bullshit.
Yeah.
That's this movie. Like,
We're bullshit.
This is a produced podcast. I edit out the shit where I'm too drunk to talk.
Yeah. This is the best I ever look.
There's
Like,
that.
if you think I'm just all right, this is as good as it gets for me.
This movie, I think I agree with Vader. This movie, to a certain extent, like really freaking like bugs with your brain a little bit, because it puts a microscope on everything that we're already doing and just takes it a step further.
All three of the movies that we're talking about this week kind of touch on the same kind of weird, how lazy can we fucking get with our lives?
And
kind of
also,
topic.
like, what's real to you? Is that real or is this real?
Yeah.
And it just kind of depends on what you want to be real, because I don't want this old ass overweight version of me to be real. I want the hot, like, 20-year-old version of me to be real. So that's what I choose.
Yeah.
I mean,
And it's even really interesting. Sorry, Vader.
No.
It's really interesting too. Is like the dynamic between Bruce Willis and his wife.
Oh yeah.
And like, she won't even touch him.
She won't leave her room.
Like,
She
ew,
won't
you're
leave
gross.
her room unless she's in a surrogate. But
Right.
like, when he's not in his surrogate, she won't touch him.
Yeah.
She barely looks at him because she can't bear to
That-
without his surrogate.
So like once he goes on a hunt for this, there's this weapon that is able to kill the real human behind the surrogate. God,
Yeah, just
damn,
keep
I'm
going.
so sorry,
It
guys.
turns your brain into
So
mush.
it goes through your surrogate and it reacts with your actual brain and ends up killing you, which is not supposed to be able to happen. But they
Right.
have the specialized, militaristic weapon that does that.
the surrogates are supposed to be really bulletproof.
You know what?
Sugar-free
My
of
surrogate would never be able to get as fucked up as me right now. Let's. So like he goes on this hunt to find this person who's killing all these people, and he ends up injuring his surrogate, in which like an arm cuts off and his surrogate dies, and he's like, well, now I have nothing. All I have is my human body. And he goes and he sees his wife, and his wife is like, where's your actual, like, where's your avatar?
Don't come at me without a condom on, sir.
Like you look gross right now. And I was like, God, like it messes with your
It
head
messes with your head.
a lot. Yeah. This movie, like, I don't love this movie. It's not a great movie. It's a little boring. It's kind of slow. And Bruce Willis does his Bruce Willis thing where he just looks bored in every scene.
It makes a lot of really good points, but it's also not a good movie.
Yeah, right. Like the concept of this movie is brilliant.
Yeah.
But the delivery of it is like snorefest.
Oh, I hated it.
Yeah.
I know this movie wasn't very well acted, but it's got some pretty cool actors in it. And I think I liked it the most because just the concept of this thing was just so far out there. I mean, we all know we're getting our fucking Oculus Rifts, and some of this stuff.
I don't have one.
Some of this stuff, especially like in Ready Player One, like we're going to talk about later, is starting to come true.
Yeah.
Some of that's what the whole metaverse thing is.
Yes. Yeah. Very much so.
And I don't want to pivot to that movie, but we're going there. Okay, this is extreme, but it makes you ask questions to yourself. It's like, would you do this? What side of the fence would you sit on? Would you live with the humans that are like anti-surrogate? Would you have a would you go down to the pod dealership and buy yourself a really hot dude? And a pod, I wonder how much those things cost.
So
do you buy them like a car? How does that work?
Here's a perfect example. Okay, so in my real life, I work in a very dangerous industry where I could literally die at any moment. I was just doing something at work last week where I was like, if I tripped up and I made a mistake,
You're dead.
I'd be off a cliff. It would be done. I'd be over. Alex would be dead, right? I was doing that last week for freaking $30 an hour. I would have 100% put like, oh yeah, I'll do a surrogate and I'll operate the machinery via a remote.
Yeah.
That way I'm safe. But in this situation where you're like living everyday life, I'm 100% against that. I'm like, no. I'm going to go camping. I'm going to go spend time with my kids. I'm going to go out in the real world. I'm going to do some pull-ups, some push-ups, and try not to turn into a freaking slob and just like live my life and be what I am.
I mean, in this world, all four of us, you two are upstairs. Alex is at house, and I'm at my house. And our perfectly formed surrogates are sitting here at this table talking like we are right now, going, oh yes. I mean,
where's my mask?
Talk like what we
Where's
talk.
my white mask?
But it's so weird. And
I put your surrogate back on the charger.
Oh shit. Okay.
I don't know, man. This movie just really it freaked my brain out.
We've been talking for a couple minutes. We haven't gotten a single word out of Kate, so I'm going to let Kate talk about why did you pick this movie? What's your synopsis?
Okay, so all week long I kept trying to figure out why.
Oh, he would 100% be a surrogate user.
You think?
No, I was trying to figure out why he picked these movies. And every movie I was like, did you build this week around this movie? And he was like, nope. I'm so interested to know, like, what the fuck, man.
Take it away, Kadish. The floor is yours, sir.
Well, we kind of mentioned about how like the whole human simulation thing is slowly becoming a reality. And so like these three movies definitely fit the bill in like kind of different ways. With this movie in particular, so it's based on a comic book actually. This movie kind of followed the storyline of the comic book a little bit loosely, but the comic book was a lot darker. So like for instance, Bruce Willis's character, his name is Greer. And in the comic books, he's like a cop basically. And his wife is addicted to surrogacy. And so like at the end of the movie, when all the surrogates go offline and people are forced to, go out in their human forms, she commits suicide because she can't handle it. And that's how like the story ends. But in this world, so basically you have this inventor who figures out a way to create some type of neural link with machinery. And he initially does it because he's handicapped, like he's in a wheelchair, and he wants to create an experience where people who have disabilities can function normally in the world. And then the military gets a hold of this technology and they figure out how to make like fully formed like soldiers on the battlefield. So like these machines are like running around, they're like jumping, they're fighting and stuff like that. So like they become very responsive. And because this is a government funded thing, more and more people start looking at this as the possibility to, get rid of like medical costs and get rid of like crime and get rid of all this stuff. And so the government starts granting people access to these surrogates. They make it legal to basically like inhabit a surrogate and have that be like your representation in life. And this movie kind of picks up, it takes place in 2017, which is kind of funny. But it kind of picks up like right after the Supreme Court rules that like surrogacy is like a legal form of like, existence, I guess. And so like Vader said, it's a lot like buying a car where like, different surrogates have different levels of interactivity, of like exposure. Like, so like there are some surrogates that, you get a cheap rental, you can't feel anything, or the air tastes weird or like something like that. So, and these surrogates are meant to be mapped to your specific mental health or like mental brainwave or something. And the government officials always get like the best one. So in this movie, Bruce Willis is a FBI agent and the FBI get like the top tier ones, top tier surrogates. And it's kind of funny because in the movie, like they just park their surrogates like in the FBI office. And so like when they log in the morning, they're already at work. They don't have to do that commute. And I thought like, that's kind of fun. So like there's a lot of really interesting ideas in this movie. And I thought it'd be fun to kind of talk about them. But the biggest thing is like, this is a Bruce Willis film, right? And it's recently come out, unfortunately, that Bruce Willis is suffering from aphasia. And that's one of the reasons why he was doing all these like crappy movies in recent years, because like he's trying to cash in before he can't work anymore. And around the time that this movie came out, like Bruce Willis was kind of known for being like a little bit difficult on set. And I think that's because like he'd been dealing with like the effects of this early onset aphasia like for a long time. And so he'd get very irritable and he'd like have a hard time communicating with people and stuff like that. And this movie got retooled in the editing process where like basically like their initial test screenings didn't work out that well. People weren't really responding to it. And so like they went back into the editing room to try to fix things up. And one of the things that they needed to do was to have Bruce Willis come in and do some, some dialogue re-recording to kind
Right.
of like, fix the story a bit. And Bruce Willis is just like, no, fuck you. It's like, I'm done. I don't want to deal with this movie anymore. And so they actually had to hire a Bruce Willis impersonator
No
to come in.
Is this where it started?
to come in and do the voiceover stuff. So like a lot of times when you're watching this movie and you're hearing Bruce Willis talk, that's not actually Bruce Willis.
That's kind of
No way.
That's awesome.
That's so crazy.
But it, like, just audibly or physically too?
No, it's just audible.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because I know, like, in a lot of the movies that he's doing now, when you see like the back of him, that's not Bruce
Wait,
Willis.
Yeah.
wait. So what you're saying is Bruce Willis uses surrogate in Surrogate.
He did. Yeah.
Well, voice surrogate.
That is awesome. Good for Bruce Willis, man.
yeah.
That's killer.
Yeah, but this is also, I think, the first time that Bruce Willis and Ving Rhames were together in a movie since Pulp Fiction.
I just want to say this. This is
Ving Rhames.
a criminal underutilization. I can't believe I pronounced that word.
Great, good for you.
Thank you.
Keep going.
Of Ving Rhames in a
Uh-huh.
movie. Like, I saw him and I was like, oh, Ving Rhames is in this
Uh-huh.
movie? Oh, shit. This is going to be freaking dope. And then he's
Get
in it
the
for like,
gimp.
he's in it for like 15 minutes, maybe tops throughout the entire film. And he's only doing these like goofy monologues about like surrogates and stuff.
You know what I thought was cool was a barbed wire's brother.
yeah,
Yes.
Jack
Jack
Noseworthy.
Noseworthy.
Yeah.
I feel like he's going to be that
So,
guy that
okay.
every time we see him in something obscure, we're going to be like,
Yeah.
This is Barbed Wire's brother.
We just did Event Horizon.
Yes,
Yeah.
this is very interesting because real world stuff, people. I was editing the Event Horizon episode and we were talking about Jack Noseworthy, and I was like, "Who is this fucking guy?"
Yeah.
Because Kadish mentioned, like, yeah, he was big in like the early, like late '80s, early '90s. He had like a TV show which was called Dead Before 21. He's like, he was a big time MTV star and all this stuff, and then he disappeared.
Yeah.
And I was like, he disappeared? That sounds weird. That's like not normal for
Yeah.
like an actor.
his sim went
So,
offline.
so like, right. So I went on IMDb and he has been in fucking everything from the 80s all the way up until the early, like 2015, 2016. He's been like small cameo parts in
Really?
tons of different TV shows.
Yeah.
So he hasn't disappeared,
He's our new Sven Thorson.
but he's in everything.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's so crazy. And I was like Googling his name and I was like, oh, he's in CSI.
I
he's
bet
in
we could get him on the
this
show.
TV show. I bet you fucking
we
could. We need to try.
I'm going to look for him on TikTok.
Anyway, so I just not that I'm correcting you, Kadish, but he didn't disappear. He just like became like
He just became invisible.
yeah. He just became one of those character actors that you
Yeah.
see in everything, but you don't recognize him.
That's cool.
Yeah, good for him.
Yeah.
Jack Noseworthy was in this, but this movie is directed by Jonathan Mostow, and his movie right before this was a Kurt Russell film called Breakdown, where the guy's wife gets kidnapped after their car
That
breaks
movie's
down.
terrible.
Yeah, and he also directed Terminator 3. That was like his big, claim to fame.
Mm.
And this movie, so Jude kind of talked about how it made over $100 million at the box office, but initially, this movie was a box office bomb. It only brought in about 60 million, I think, initially, and so like this movie really hurt pretty much everyone involved except maybe Bruce Willis. But the film was shot in Boston, and it's kind of funny because like I was looking at.
We could have had Mark Wahlberg in this.
Well, it's kind of funny because obviously there's some scenes that were shot on the Paramount backlot, I think, just based off of like what I was able to notice. But around this time, there were Boston was offering like some really good tax incentives for shooting films there, and there were so many films going on that Mostow would actually go to like the wrong sets on the day to shoot, and he'd be like, "Oh, this isn't my movie."
Oh, get out.
Yeah, he'd have to like drive to like the place
That's
where like he
funny.
was actually shooting.
All of a sudden, my brain is going, how this would be a great Mark Wahlberg movie
Instead of Bruce Willis.
instead of Bruce Willis.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Mark Wahlberg kind of makes everything better.
He does.
He kind
I
of
love that
Okay,
guy.
but the ridiculousness of this
Yeah.
just jibes better with
Yeah.
Mark Wahlberg.
yeah. See, my biggest.
Bruce Willis, the 80s Mark Wahlberg? Or was Mark
Kind of.
Wahlberg the 80s Mark Wahlberg?
I
He's
don't
been
know.
around a while.
He hasn't been around a while.
Yeah.
I will say, like, my biggest criticism of this movie is actually Bruce Willis, and I hate to say that because, like, recently the news came out, we've got confirmation that he's been dealing with an illness, and I feel terrible for that because I've been making fun of him for way too long.
Yeah.
Everybody
not,
has.
not knowing that.
Now we're all dicks.
So now we're all assholes because I'm like, oh shit, like I feel really bad for
You're
him.
on
But
the
like,
wrong side of history, my
I
friend.
know, right? I'm a dick. And I was watching this movie, and the whole time I was just thinking, I'm like, man, this movie would be so much better if it wasn't Bruce Willis.
Yeah.
Like, because the movie itself, the concept is very interesting. And we've talked about already, like, the ramifications of, like, the real life world that we live in. Like, what if it was more like this? And I'm like, Bruce Willis just seems so bored throughout the entire thing.
Also, his sim is so fucking plastic.
Yeah.
Like, Rosamund Pike still looks like Rosamund Pike.
Right.
I don't think she's CGI'd. He's obviously CGI'd.
Oh, yeah. Well,
it's like early de-aging.
So
But
creepy.
That's what I like about his surrogate.
His stupid blonde hair.
It's just dumb, wavy LA surfer dude flip in the front and his plastic looking face.
Right.
That's what a surrogate
It sells
supposed
it.
to look
It sells
like.
it a little bit,
It's
huh?
like, for most of these people, they just kind of like say, okay, well, you're just an actor. These robots are so lifelike in 2017 that you can't tell them apart from humans, which is cool. But I like the kind of plasticky looking Bruce Willis version. You know what I mean?
I love the scene where they go to the laboratory and there's this very tall, handsome black doctor in the lab coat.
Yeah.
And he comes back and he's like, "What's your name?" And they tell him his name and they look at his badge and it's like some grimy old white dude. And they're like, "Oh, this is me." And his avatar, his surrogate is a tall, handsome black guy. And I'm like, that's freaking hilarious.
Well, that's one of the more interesting aspects of this concept. And in fact, they kind of explored a little bit in the movie where, in a society like this, like you have people who get their surrogates to look like, furries and like, weird face paint. But then you also get like overweight fat guys who pretend to be like hot chicks. Like the entire opening of this movie, there's like this hot blonde club girl.
Yeah.
And the kid who is the son of the creator of the surrogates, he's like making out with her. And then like when she dies, the FBI goes to like the apartment that was linked with that surrogate, and they find like just this like hugely grotesquely overweight dude.
Yeah, it's a grosser, fatter, sicker version of me.
Yeah.
Dude, we were just watching a scene with Jack Noseberry. John?
Yep.
Noseworthy.
Noseworthy?
Yeah.
Worthy or Barry?
John
Worthy.
I don't know, man. I think Noseberry is better.
I like John Nose Candy.
It is now, man. Keep going.
John Nose Candy.
You're in the 100-yard dash. Just keep going, man.
Is a noseberry the thing that you get when you can't? I'm sorry.
It's like a dingleberry for your nose.
Oh my God.
Dingleberry for your nose. Noseworthy.
A noseberry is
Jack
a
Noseworthy.
sighting of Jack Noseworthy.
I genuinely think we might be able to reach out to this guy because I've seen him in it. I'm like, now that you've mentioned, we just watched him in Event Horizon, and I'm looking at this now. Until this point, I didn't realize he was in this movie, and I'm looking at him like, oh, I'm going to talk to that guy on Instagram.
I love how genuinely euphoric and excited you get when you're wasted.
I'm so fucked up right now. I'm sorry, guys. I really apologize. Halo, like we just recorded our Halo review, and I like downed an entire Moscow Mule, and I am trash. Okay.
Get it together, man.
I'm sorry. This movie is very interesting, and it has a great commentary on the modern world that we live in.
It kind of does.
But I mean, like, if this were real, what would your avatar look like? Would you be interested in going out as like a hot blonde girl?
Listen, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I think I might be in the crazy cult people, like like anti-surrogate thing.
Oh, you totally would be.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm not into that.
You'd be on the reservation.
I would because I'd be like working out and doing good stuff and eating organic food and like building my own farm and shit. Like that's what I'm into. I like doing that shit.
I'd make a surrogate with a rear gut and a little dick. I mean,
you get the little dick add-on upgrade.
My DLC.
My dick's too big. I want you to upgrade the package to the
with a hyperactive tongue.
The hyper tongue upgrade.
Yeah.
DLC little dick.
Beer gut and a little dick.
Oh shit.
What about that?
Beer gut and a little dick.
And the fucking man boobs. Man boobs, beer gut, little dick. Really good tongue.
I'd like the meatloaf model, please.
Yes.
Like in a world like this where this kind of thing is accessible, this technology is available, like I would wonder like how many people are going to go out there and just turn their Sims into people from freaking Skyrim and shit. Like
I'd get the what's Peter from fucking Family Guy model. That's probably what I would do.
Well, what if there was like a Darth Vader version, like officially licensed Darth Vader?
Yeah,
surrogate?
would you spring for the cash?
Oh no, I'm not gonna give Lucasfilm money right now. Fuck those guys.
We're not even talking about this freaking movie at this point. Look, this movie has a great concept behind it.
It's very cool.
It's very cool. It's very interesting, and it's sad. It's a tragedy. Like Bruce Willis and his wife. I'm sorry, I can't remember the actor's name.
Rosamund Pike.
What is it?
Rosamund Pike.
That's her name?
Yep.
It's a dope ass name. They lost their son.
Yeah.
And in a tragic car accident, which I can't even imagine as a parent, like what that would do to my brain. Like I would just break. And that's what happened to them. And from that point forward, they started living vicariously through their surrogates so that type of tragedy would never happen again. So I understand 100% their attachment to their surrogates.
Yeah.
Like nothing bad can happen to me if I'm in this space. I get it. It's such a sad movie.
Yeah.
It's not great. It's got amazing concepts and it's got a lot of fun. There's really a good foundation for this movie. I just don't think it was delivered quite as good as it could have been.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think this movie wanted to be an action movie, but when you step back and think about it,
Right.
that's not really what it is at its core.
Yeah.
It's so sad. It's
Yeah.
like the Magnolia
Yeah.
of
It's like,
action
have you ever
movies.
watched Bicentennial Man?
Yeah.
It's something I get the same feeling when I watch this movie. Although it wants to be an action movie, I get the same like emotional feeling that I do when I watch Bicentennial Man. And that movie's freaking sad.
Yeah. Like
And it's about like kind of like the weird opposite of this is like a robot turning into a human as opposed to a human turning into a robot. But it's like it kind of like makes me not happy at the end. It's just
Yeah.
like, oh God. that
it's so
sucks,
sad
dude.
that you actually don't want to watch it.
Yeah.
Because
yeah.
it makes you sad. But like when you were talking about the car accident
Mm-hmm.
that his son died in, Bruce Willis's son died in, and I think it's not outright said, but it seems like the wife, Rosamund Pike, was driving or was at least in the car because she has this big facial scar. But like
Right.
we have all this technology in making these robots look like humans, but like the technology is spent on that instead of repairing the damage that was done to ourselves.
Right,
Like
yeah.
she gets out of her VR pod and she's still like scarred and physically incapacitated from that accident that happened how many years ago?
Mhm.
And also Radha Mitchell, who plays Bruce Willis's partner in this. So she was in Pitch
Pitch Black.
Black, one of the Riddick movies. And, you know, it's kind of funny because her surrogate is like all sexy and stuff like that. Very hot boss lady.
Mhm.
And then when she like comes out of her pod, like they make her look like as ugly and like and gross as possible. And I'm like, does no one in this society like just like shower like after they get out of their
Yeah,
pod or
everyone
something?
walks immediately out of their VR pod and they're already like in their bathrobe and it's not even tied.
Okay, listen. I'm going to talk to Vader here because like we've gamed.
Should we go?
We've done some gaming,
Mhm.
right? So when you're in like some kind of a huge campaign in your video game, do you take the time to pause the game and go shower and like trim up and look nice and then come back to your game, or do you just like fuck it, nobody's gonna see me anyway?
Not until you're done.
Right. But these people are perpetually never
Yeah.
done, right?
Yeah.
So like, at what point do you need to like? I don't care. Like you said at the beginning of this episode, like you have a freaking catheter in, and
Yeah.
like everything's already taken care of you.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry
Got
about
your
it.
shit bucket underneath
mean-
the chair. Yeah.
You kind of don't you have to shower? Like if your surrogate is fucking another surrogate, like you're still experiencing that finishing move. So don't you kind of have to take a shower at that point?
That's
I guess.
interesting. I don't know how
I mean,
far.
I mean,
I don't know how far that goes.
have
in this movie.
so I mean, these things, they have batteries, they have battery charge. They have to go and charge every night. And then I guess, so just like an electric car, I guess you can't drive it while it's charging.
Yeah,
So there is time when you can sleep and shower and
I
shit
think
and stuff.
that's the time that they sleep though.
But you know, this movie, you know, his wife,
She's on
she never
pills.
leaves her room.
Yeah,
she takes
she's-
pills and she's gross and
Yeah,
you
which
know,
I
and-
thought was like, I don't want to say it's a thin veil because obviously there's like
so okay, you go to the end of the movie, right? Everybody starts coming out of their little holes.
right,
They all got their robes and
Like
their pajamas
bald
on. None of them have had a haircut
right.
in 18 months. They all look disgusting and sweaty, and Yeah, I mean, it looks like probably everybody that's in a hardcore World of Warcraft in-game guild, right? That's how I picture everybody.
Yeah.
You know, so and I think they're spot on. You know, when the South Park guys are making fun of the gamer dude, that's what they did. That's the person that everybody thinks that we are.
This is an unpopular,
and they're not far off.
This is an unpopular saying, but stereotypes exist for a reason.
Yeah, I was that person.
Yeah.
I relate.
That's
why this movie freaks me the fuck out. Because we're not far from this.
The only thing that needs to catch up with this is the technology of the avatars.
Yeah, it's more towards Ready Player One is where we're heading.
Yeah,
because the surrogates are
the robots thing.
They're next level sci-fi.
Listen,
stuff.
Boston Dynamics is
trying
trying real hard to turn our lives into Terminator.
Yeah,
but they're not succeeding yet.
Well, there was a shot at the beginning of this movie where you have like this Japanese scientist, and he's next to a robot version of himself. And that was from actual news footage.
And that was from like 10 years ago.
Yeah. So it is freaky.
Japan's robots are next level from us.
I do agree. It is freaky.
They really are.
It really is freaky.
Should we do final thoughts?
I just want a Rosie the robot to clean my house and make food.
Final thoughts on Bruce Willis's Surrogates. Vader.
So I know this movie isn't that great. And I don't like I said it's my favorite movie of the week when we started. I don't know if it's my favorite movie of the week, but what it did was it made me think more than the other two movies did. Okay. So just for that reason alone, I'm gonna go like 3, I think, with this one. I think this is a movie everybody should watch because it's a good movie to make you think about how you live your life and where we're going as a society. I know too many people that would be more than happy to just get in their stupid little pods.
Listen, I've put
on
the Oculus Rift and I've become a boxing champion.
And it's fun, right? It's fun.
It's fun.
But do you want to live your life that way? I mean, I've told you guys, I've sat here and I've said, it's like, I'm going to die slaying a dragon in a virtual reality. I'm going to slay this fucking dragon and it's going to get me so amped up, it's going to give me a heart attack and I'm just going to die in the virtual world for real. I mean, that's probably how I'm going to go. I'm going to retire at my home. I'm going to be 95 years old because for some fucking reason, everybody in my family lives to be 102 years old. No joke. And I'm just going to die slaying smog. That's what I'm going to do. So it is what it is.
This episode of the podcast is going real deep, guys. So get ready for it.
That's where this is. I mean, how many people are dying? How many people in this, if this was the real world, how many people are just dead decomposing in their little surrogate pod? In their shitty little apartment.
Makes me sad to think about.
It's weird, right? Yeah. I mean,
this movie makes me want to go camping.
I know. I'm with you.
It makes me want to put my phone away.
It makes me want to go. It makes me want to go to the park.
Yes.
Get a tent and go start a fire and kill something to eat out in the woods. It really does. I'm with you, bro. I'm with you.
Okay, Jude.
So 3.
Final thoughts. Give it a rate.
I'm gonna die in a VR pod.
Yeah.
I'm gonna die but not in the same way as you. And also, I hated this movie. It's terrible. I never need to watch it again. I'm pretty sure it was a first watch. I don't think I've ever watched this before, and I never need to watch it again. Ving Rhames should have been the main character. Bruce Willis's blonde hair was just absurd, and he just looked like a cartoon the whole time, whereas everyone around him looked like a real person with just like better hair. This is like 1.5 surrogates out of 5 for me. Yeah.
Okay. Before we get to Kadish, I'm going to give this movie 2.5. Fair. It's got some very, very interesting concepts, but I don't think the delivery was quite there. And Ving Rhames is absolutely a underutilized character. Kadish. I apologize. You're the only sober person at this table. Take it away, buddy.
I'm mostly sober.
She's doing a great job.
You guys are super slurry today.
Such a good producer. This tells us about the Surrogates.
So this is a very mediocre movie with some very great concepts to it. Solid 2 stars for me.
See, even drunk, I'm right. Any other thoughts?
Nope, that was it.
All right, cool. All right, guys, the next movie on our list.
I got something.
Oh, what's up?
I have a code word.
Oh, that's right.
I have a code word.
Take it away, sir.
Code word. I'm going to go zombie juice.
Zombie juice.
Zombie juice.
Is that
Okay.
one word or two?
That's 2 words, but
Okay.
the code is zombie juice.
Okay, so go to saltynerddiscord.com, or if you're already on Discord, just join the Salty Nerd Podcast server, and in the contest chat room, type in
Zombie juice.
Okay.
and you will be entered to win what?
These movies and this fantastic pack of buttons and stickers from the Salty Nerd Podcast.
He's holding them
That one's
upside down.
upside down.
They're both upside down.
Just
Godzilla.
Just let it be a surprise.
United
Kong of
States,
Monsters.
U.S.
You're gonna
listeners
win a
only.
prize.
U.S. Yeah, sorry, God.